tell the story, and it's got to be somewhat logical, but you count like maybe 25, 50, and you see people doing things like picking their nose or scratching, and they don't even notice. It's involuntary motions that you do, and that's what it's all about.
Hey you guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Perry Covington with Ronin 7 Entertainment. I'm sorry to say that again. Ronin 7 Entertainment, and I'm here with my dad, Perry Covington Sr., and we're going to be talking about presentation techniques and what you should and shouldn't be doing in the camera and all the different bad habits that people have, right?
That's right.
So as an instructor, Dad, for the military, for the Air Force, what are some of the biggest things that you see people doing that they unwittingly do besides, you know, scratching their nether regions?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that we do, and until you're actually aware of those things, it's pretty hard to actually realize that you're doing these things because you subconsciously do them. Most instructors, facilitators, whatever you want to call them, pretty much have to go through the same type of training.
All right, so just in terms of YouTubers and people creating content for this new platform, not new platform, but individuals who are just getting into this kind of medium, what do you think is some good advice to those individuals when they're talking to a camera, when they're, you know, trying to present, trying to be just better in front of people? Like, what do you think, Dad?
Well, there's several basic fundamentals that apply to effective communication, and one, you kind of have to know your audience,
Sure.
Know their background, and you try to associate cater or tailor your conversation to perhaps the needs of that particular audience or the knowledge level of that particular audience. In my case, because I was a military instructor, I had people from all walks of life coming in.
What's some of the
lot different.
What's one of the more funnier things you've seen people do when they're presenting? Like, you know, not necessarily screw ups or just little different nervous tics that they might have. You know, what have you seen?
When I became a facilitator or instructor, we had to go to a classroom on day one before we had any training at all. Yeah. And they kind of wanted to point out some of the flaws that you will have as a communicator and teacher. And what they would do is they would bring all the students in the classroom, about 30 students, and they would say to you, okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to take one by one, each of you students, and have you come up in front of the classroom, and we're going to have TV cameras going, and all the remaining students sitting in the audience.
Wait. TV cameras?
TV cameras.
You had TV cameras back then?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. We've had TVs since the 50s, Perry.
Yeah, but you joined the military before. The Air Force was born in 1947.
That's
right?
correct, September 27th.
And you were in the Army Air Corps.
No, I was not in the Army. My brother was in the Army Air Corps.
I could have sworn you were in the Army Air Corps before the Air Force.
Oh, good God, that was not.
When were you born?
I was born in. Oh, good God, I was born in 1943, and the Army Air Corps was 1947. When I was 5 years old.
The Air Force was in 1947.
No, when I was 5 years old, my brother, who was the first one born, I was the last one born, was a tail gunner in the Army Air Corps.
And he was World War I?
Yeah, my father was in World War I.
Sorry, I thought you were 30, 40 years older than you are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, son. He always does this to me. Well, you know, that's pretty much, the case.
Let's bring it back to like weird tics that people have. I want to hear stories.
Well, this is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, but
you keep jumping off the bridge and taking me with you. Anyway, getting back to the story. On day one, they bring all your entire potential instructors into a room, and they have television cameras. Yes, they weren't color, but they were in television cameras. And they would actually tell you before you went up in front of the class that there's a box about 8 feet high, and you're going to step on the step stool, and you're going to reach into this box, and you're going to pull out something. You won't know what it is.
Wait. So you're telling me there was an 8-foot high box?
It was on a platform that was 8 foot high, yes.
And you had to go up to that box?
They didn't want anybody to know what was in the box. So you'd have to step on a platform to reach the object in the box. And you didn't know what you were picking up.
You know how tall 8 feet is, right?
It's the height of a ceiling.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. Anyway, we'd have to step on this little platform ladder, a little step ladder,
Yeah.
and reach up high to get to the top of this box.
Okay.
And we would pick an object out. I happened to pick a rubber thumb. So from the time, some people picked a pin, some people picked a toothpick. You don't know what you're picking. That's the whole idea.
No, your face was so serious when you picked the rubber thumb. You were like,
Well, I had to think about what I was going to say,
what
and I
was
had
rubber
3
thumb?
seconds to get from that box down the ladder to the podium, and then they would say, "You're gonna whatever you pick, you're going to talk about that for 10 minutes, and 10 minutes only. We have a clock on the other end of the wall that you'll be able to see, and you're going to talk about a subject and try to make it make sense, and that'll be your task. And then the rest of the students are going to critique you."
I feel like 10 minutes is not enough time for you to tell any story.
Well, that's all
whatsoever.
the time I had at that time. I learned a lot since then. Anyhow, so anyway, that's the essence of how it worked. You had everybody unqualified. Everybody would laugh and make fun of you.
Sure.
But then they would get up and you would have a chance to pick out all their things that they would do. And we had to make notes on the things they would do. Well, when
Let's bring it back to our viewers then. So tips
Okay.
and tricks. So after all of that was said and done, what are some good tips you would give? Like just short, succinct, bullet style. Here are the top 3 things you can do to be a better presenter.
well, I was going to bring that up in the summary.
Oh, good Lord.
So
It's a classic military class.
thank you. Thank
so
you.
long.
Anyway, I saw myself in this 10 minutes. First of all, I had a really good subject because I knew quite a bit about anthropology and science, and I knew.
No, I did tips and tricks. I didn't say to go back to the story.
But I had a good. I'm lucky to get the thumb. If I'd have got something else, I'd have been lost. But even I knew the subject, and I came up with the development of humankind because of the thumb and making tools and all that, the abilities you have, all the way up to hitchhiking, all the advantages of
Thank
the
God
thumb.
for the thumb.
Thank God for the thumb.
You keep moving your chair.
I know. It's
So
one of the
I'm
things
trying to tell people.
I haven't been an instructor in a long time.
Well,
So the things are coming back.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to get
Okay.
tips and tricks.
Okay, now to pretty much get to the question that you asked me
Like 20 minutes ago.
about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Watching yourself do these things and watching other people do these things, you find out that we all make the same common mistakes.
Sure.
One of them is we don't make contact with people, eye contact. Very
contact.
important. We tend to, especially when we're talking, if you will, on the fly about a subject, you tend to say like this. You'll see yourself, maybe rubbing your nose, sometimes, scratching.
You're not supposed to touch your face, by the way.
I know. That's
CDC says
during this time. I
no
know. I
faces
was
is
just doing this to demonstrate this.
Crazy
I
time.
sacrificed my.
And our social distancing is not.
This is true. It's supposed to be 6 feet, but you are my son, so it's okay.
I don't think that. Anyway. Okay, continue.
It's really hard to talk with him, because, I usually have the floor
Well,
and I
you're
don't have
messing
to.
up our
I'm
framing
not
now, so
interrupted.
you have to come back. 'Cause the
Okay,
framing's all
I'm
jacked
back.
up. All right. Oh my goodness, this is supposed
So
to
anyway,
be a quick video.
we
guys.
all have little idiosyncrasies that we do and say, and body language that we tend to do. Like if I stand like this and I'm talking, which you do sometimes, you're actually saying you don't really
So you know
care
that you're
what's
right
going
next to the
on.
microphone now, so when I edit this, it's going to be super loud.
Well,
when
I
you do that.
usually am not having a mic.
You need to
I
tell
think
me that you're going to be
I
doing
usually
these
have a mic on
things,
my collar.
like before you do them. You can't just add. You know what? So that's another good tip: rehearsal, practice.
Absolutely.
So let's summarize really quick.
Okay.
Watch what your hands are doing. Minimize the ums and ahs.
Yes. Okay. You want to know what else? Okay.
Rehearse.
Rehearse. Yeah.
What else?
Make sure that people know you're communicating to them in a level which they can understand and aren't bored to death. So you want, because otherwise you're not going to get any message across. So you have to bring the subject, whatever it might be. You got to make it exciting enough that even though you think they would never, ever want to learn about this subject, you got to find something in this subject that can be of an advantage to them. And talk to the whole class. Kind of keep your eyes towards the back of the room, but move your head and kind of like you're really cared about the rest of the students as well. But you kind of pick out one student and you focus on him a bit, but then you shift your eyes and your head and you move around a little bit. If you're stationary,
don't you sign up again.
if you're stationary, like the NBC nightly news guy on channel 7, where your elbows are like this, and that's kind of his thing, and he does good. But as an instructor, you don't want to be frozen, just a mouth that's moving, like a head with a mouth. You look like a puppet. So you want to be human. You want to communicate. You want to use body gestures that are not puppeteering like. You want to use natural movements and use a natural conversation. So if you can relate to a personal experience that you had, that may be something for the students feel, and you can kind of sense it.
So I guess to bring it back into context of this forum, this medium for YouTube, the creators out there, you can bring those ideas and lessons straight into what you're doing with your videos, right? So eye contact with your lens, and this is your window to the world. So having that eye contact while you're talking and presenting is important. And then also being natural, just like you said, being natural is super important.
Yes.
Obviously not a trait or a skill set that many people can do right off the bat. My dad seems to be really okay on camera, which is fun to watch. But it takes practice, right? So you're gonna keep on doing these videos, you're gonna keep on making this content, and eventually you'll get to the point where it becomes kind of second nature. And it's weird to say, like, talking into a camera becomes second nature, but it will. It will eventually. We've made, several videos, not just for YouTube, but just in general for our production company. And things do get easier. Becoming a camera operator becomes easier. Everything you do in life with practice obviously becomes easier. And that's really the point of this video, is to let you know, hey, here's some things that we have from an instructor in the military who did this for, how many years were you doing?
5 years. I was a master instructor.
But then 27 years total in the military, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so very long career in that forum. And, with our productions, we've been doing that for quite some time as well. So it's fairly simple. You just keep on practicing, you keep on pushing, you keep making better and better content is the bottom line. And if you use some of the tips and tricks like my dad was kind of throwing out there for you, definitely will make you a better filmmaker, a better presenter, and a better YouTuber overall. So I think that's all we have time for today. Dad, thank you for coming in. I appreciate your long-winded stories.
I have one
and
more.
Anecdotes, of course you
Tip.
do.
Nowadays,
That's when they used to hit you and stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even the principal had
Yeah.
a paddle with holes in it, so there would be no slowing down with the air current.
Yeah.
It was common. Yeah. I mean, it was just normal. Yeah, there was a whole different thing back when I was.
You turned out great, though.
Huh?
You turned out great, even though you got hit.
Well, discipline is a good thing. But there's different kinds of discipline. And anyway,
Let's not get into
we
that,
have
right?
come a long way. We're getting off the subject again. You're really good about that.
I just think it's funny that you're telling a story about being concise and to the point, and you're rambling with this story.
That's because of my age. I have that. I mean, that comes with age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And we have a lesson plan
I'm
also.
trying to wrap this video now, Dad.
I know.
And you keep going.
The thing that keeps you on track
There he goes.
is a lesson plan.
Can't stop him. Just
Criterion,
keeps on. See?
objective, bam, bam, bam.
Keeps going. You good?
That's all I have to say.
You did amazing, Dad.
Thank you.
You did amazing.
Kind of
Thank
thought
you.
I did
Thank you
too.
for coming on the
Yeah,
channel.
my pleasure, son. My pleasure. I can't shake your hand because, the
Social distancing, right? Let's do elbow bumps.
Yeah, we can do that.
There we
Yeah.
go.
We're supposed to be 6 feet away, though.
All right, you guys. Thanks for watching this video, the rambling video of how to be a better presenter. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you.
Thank you.
Your chair.
Oh.
You guys, it's still, because all people like to move their chair
Oh, yeah.
unwittingly, and then that's all you see in the video.
Yeah, like scratching
All right.
balls. Yeah.
scratching your ball.
Everybody does. If you're doing a 10-minute impromptu speech, I mean, you might find yourself doing this. It's called involuntary motions that when I became an instructor, we had to do that. We had to go in front of the camera. Remember, I told you this story a
Scratch your
million
balls.
times.